Operation status quo. Operation status quo. Prepare to engage. Operation status quo. Ready to engage. Operation status quo. Engaged. Engaged. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are we today? How are we? How are we? How do you feel out there? Because I love you guys out there, and I hope you're feeling good, because it's important to feel good. Because Billy Crystal used to say, darling, it's better to look good than to feel good. And you look marvelous. You really do. But I just said it's good to feel good, right? So I'm probably talking the opposite way here. I don't know what the hell I'm saying, as I normally don't. So let me just give a round of applause and clear my brain, because here we go. Once again, crazy madness here on Operation Status Quo. Oh, actually, only just my brain is crazy and mad. Heyo. The rest of the world is very concise and calm, and everything's fine. So how we doing out there? How we feeling on a Wednesday, beautiful Wednesday here, ladies and gentlemen? Hope you're feeling good out there and enjoying your life and all that kind of stuff, because that's all we can do out there in this crazy world, is try to enjoy our life the best we can. I am Pete Palma. I am your user-friendly host right here on Operation Status Quo, broadcasting live from the comfy confines of my very own home, indeed. Today, well, first of all, this is Operation Status Quo, the place where we observe the status quo of life, where we learn to flow with the status quo of life. And then, of course, most importantly of all, the place where we learn to create our own flow of quo, because that's the only way to go. And as I always say, I encourage you out there to let me know what you're doing to create your own flow of quo, because it is so indeedly important that you do so, because otherwise you'll be left at the mercy of what the world is giving you, and you see what's happening with that. So, oh my gosh! All right, so today is the 10th of January in the good year 2024, and today's program, ladies and gentlemen, is indeed entitled News the Movie. That's right. It's funny. I've talked about, obviously, listen, I don't have to get into the whole thing of our current state of affairs with the media and such, and what people believe and don't believe. And I think people are starting to, well, most people, I mean, unless you're somebody watching CNN, otherwise that's just like the Trump channel, because all they do on CNN is just talk about Trump all day long. It's almost like watching Comedy Central, and it's just the office and the office and the office and the office, like over and over and over again, the same episodes. It's the same thing on CNN. There's nothing else. Either the only time when I flip on CNN, the only thing I ever hear them talk about is obviously Trump, and then they'll talk about, once in a while, they'll interview a family member of a hostage from Israel, so that's about all they ever do, which I guess makes it easy for them, right? Because you don't have to go out and find any legitimate information to report. You can just kind of keep repeating the same nonsense over and over again. I love how they do it too on CNN, like how they keep using the terms like threat to democracy, and Trump wants to be a dictator, and and they make it so matter of fact that he's just this evil person. They label him insurrectionist, right? When there's never been anything, there's been no proof, there's been no legal action taken that he's been found guilty of anything, right? So, and we all know there was no insurrection anyway, just like there wasn't a pandemic, you know what I'm saying? So everything is obfuscation and distraction. The media is beautifully created to do just that, because what we watch on TV is never really actually, it's not even really, say, not what's really going on. It's not even relevant to what is going on. It's like always like these other, side angle stories, like even the thing with I'll get into this, 'cause I really want to get into that Alaskan plane thing with the when the door blew off, right? But just to say, it was like around the same time when the Epstein list came out. All of a sudden, this story came out in Miami, with the this 10-foot alien walking around in the mall. There was a report of this 10-foot alien walking around the mall. 60, 70 cop cars were there and stuff. I don't know if you guys heard about it or not, but. Now, then the story kind of got dismissed, like, oh, no, it was some kids that were breaking into a store or something like that. I'm like, that sounds interesting. It went from like an alien, a 10-foot alien walking around the mall to some kids robbing a store. There's 60, 70 police cars all around the mall. I mean, who knows what happens? I don't really necessarily think that there was an alien, but, it just goes to show, like, when something's coming out, like a story like Epstein, which like ties like all the banks, all the corporations, all the politicians, to child sex action. elections and such, when all that is like coming out. No, we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about raping children. Let's make up a story about a 10-foot alien walking around in Miami in the mall, and it's the same thing of everything that we see on the news. It's all purposely done. It's to me, like I've said this before. When you go into the movies and you watch a movie, you have that suspension of disbelief. It's a movie. You get yourself into it. You let your emotions get into it, and you take it for what it is, and you watch it. Blah blah blah. But when you watch the news, like you think that you're watching something. This is real. This is actual. This isn't a movie. This is real life. But the truth is, I mean, the production and everything is done just the same as a movie, and I totally believe that about most things that we see. I'm not saying that there's not wars going on, but when they report, from the war, I remember one time with the Russia-Ukraine thing, they were reporting in Ukraine, showing these rockets that they had to launch to, defend against, incoming stuff from Russia. And there's the guy from World News. He's in a pair of skinny jeans, and whatever, a helmet, standing by this big gun that's launching off crap, and I'm just thinking, I don't know. I don't think he's really in Ukraine wearing skinny jeans in a, in a war zone. It just doesn't add up. And if you really watch it with the idea of thinking this way, you really see a lot of the flaws in all the stories that they share. It's especially. When they're reporting live of stuff that's going on, say in DC or whatever, and they show or London or whatever, wherever they're reporting from, and the background's always kind of phased out, blurry. You can't really see the full picture, and they're just reporting. I don't believe those people are really there, doing anything that they say that they're doing. They're in some room with a screen behind them, just like when a tornado or earthquake or something strikes, and they they go in and they start interviewing the people. I'm not saying a tornado doesn't hit an area and wipe something out, but they go in, or they might have a staged area where they create, that looks like a tornado went through, and they, have their actors that they interview and everything. Because, the main thing I want to say about all this is I would just like to find people. I'd like to find one person who knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that's ever been interviewed, by World News or one of these places, or, have gone through these catastrophes, because I think they're all actors basically. And, the news is designed to keep us in fear. It's designed to keep us distracted. So they're never going to come out and really tell you what's going on. I mean, there's crap going on all over the world. For example, even with those recent earthquakes in Japan, we have technology and equipment to create earthquakes, to manipulate weather, right? It's out there. They won't tell you that, but it's out there. And, it just happens to be that, the beginning of January, just when, Japan is deciding that they're no longer want to, buy up U.S. debt, and they're moving away from the dollar. All of a sudden they have these two earthquakes plus the plane crash or whatever, and all this stuff that's going on in Japan. So, it's interesting because, it's not reported in the way, they'll show you the story. Oh, earthquakes hit Japan, but, they're not going to say, well, it just happens to be that Japan is trying to, been under the rule of the United States since, World War II. They've basically been occupied, and now they don't want it anymore, and they're trying to get out from under it. And conveniently enough, some earthquakes, strike over there. Same thing whatever happened in Hawaii. They make it like it was just some, random wind blew and started this big fire, that just killed all these people. It's just, it's nonsense, right? Because it's all done on purpose. It's some sort of, operation. I know it sounds over the top, conspiratorial, but people who are open-minded and realize, I mean, listen, the world is waking up in a way, right? We're seeing things in a different way. We're understanding that we're not being told truths in certain ways. And if you really watch the news and you think about what they say and the words that they use and how they couch the phrases and everything, and the context in which they put the items and how they describe, it's really, it's manipulation, quite honestly. And then on top of it, they never talk about the bigger things that are really going on. I mean, there's big things going on in the world, economically and such. There's some of the stuff I have seen, about the U.S., the Fed, is basically non-existent anymore as of January 1. The U.S. dollar is no longer accepted in the way that it was, and you have all these BRICS nations and such that are working towards, a different type of currency and getting away from the dollar. And honestly, I've talked about it before too. Everything ultimately in this world, unfortunately, does come down to money, right? So, anything they can do to hide from the public, what's going on. Because if everybody knew that the dollar was becoming worthless, right, or basically is worthless, and everybody's moving away from it, everybody would move in another direction. They would at least get their money out of the bank, perhaps, or if they didn't do that, they would at least spend their money on something else that's like a resource or something that they could utilize, because they know the dollars are worthless. But they don't want people to do that, so they're never going to give you, that information until all of a sudden one day it'll be like something will come on the news. Oh, this event happened, or this happened, or something happened, and now we got this financial crisis or something, but because it really comes down to, like, I think everything that's going on in our world today really comes down to, like, a couple things, two things really. It comes down to the exposing of the human trafficking and the child sex trafficking, and it comes down to the exposing of the collapse of our financial system, and they're intertwined because our financial system has been kept in a way to allow those who do the child trafficking and stuff, the adrenochrome drinkers and all that shit, to proliferate and to continue to exist and do what they want to do. So the financial system is tied into that, because it's all done to keep everything in order for that business to continue to flourish, right? So they're never going to really come out and tell you, but like that's why all these wars are going on and everything else right now, because it's all comes down to who wants to be in control of having world currency, who wants to be in control of who's the monetary giant in a sense, right? So that's really where the wars come from, because as countries are trying to get away from the U.S. in this regard, it erupts into, no, we're not going to let you. So, under the guise of, a quote unquote, like terrorist act, like what happened in Israel. And I'm not saying, of course, it happened, but at the same time, it was done purposely to, allow to facilitate, this type of military response, just like 9/11, our own country, we blow up those buildings on purpose so we can allow, ourselves to go overseas in Afghanistan, these areas, and do all the nefarious crap that we do. Right. So, I mean, it's pretty simple. But anyway, the news out there, ladies and gentlemen, it's a fraud. We know it's a fraud. And, I would encourage people to really look at it as if you're watching a show, as if you're watching a movie, and really kind of think about it from that perspective. Think about the camera angles. Think about, how convenient these different little shots, they have are, and, just the video clips that they show you. I mean, and who happened to be there? They always have somebody's cell phone footage, ironically enough. It's just weird crap, right? So anyway, I have this. I want to get into the plane thing with the Boeing because I found this one to be amazing. Now, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I do not believe that this plane was in the air and this event happened. I'm not saying that they didn't take a plane and stick it on the runway and take a door off, and make this whole facade. Of course. But again, I would like to really find some of these people that were on the plane. And when you see the people that they interview, it's like the reactions are just like, this would not be a reaction of somebody who was really on a plane and the door ripped out and wind was blowing through and cell phones and computers and tablets were, shooting out out into the air and stuff. Like, people would be so petrified. I don't think they'd be able to really speak, So I find it interesting that everybody, when they, interview these people in these situations, they're always so cool, calm, and collected. So anyway, let me go over here. And this was from Fox News in Oregon. And I guess it was earlier in the week. And I'm just going to play, and we'll go through this just a little bit to say what they're showing and my thoughts on it in regard to how fake it is. So let's go over here, and we have this nice Amal. I don't know, but she has a nice hat on. Let's not make fun of her culture. Okay, let's just get into the story here and see what she's talking about.
Development in the investigation into the Alaska Airlines flight that had a door plug blown off and had to make an emergency landing at PDX. NTSB says the missing piece has been found. Officials say a community member found it in their backyard.
Now, first of all, this is the funniest part to me right off the bat. And this particular video doesn't show it, but the door I pushed the wrong button. They found the door, right, and the door is just like laying in somebody's backyard, totally intact, no problem. So this door ripped off the side of the plane, right, and then plummeted 10,000 feet. Didn't damage anything. No, I didn't even see the pictures they showed. No divots in the ground. Just people there looking at this normal door. Oh, we found the door. Thank God. And but where's this person that found the door? Like, to me, if a piece of a plane landed in my backyard, wouldn't that be something I would take a picture of and be putting it on Facebook? Like, oh my God, this door from a plane just landed in my backyard. Even the people that were on the plane, where are they on social media? Like, all this stuff coming out. Oh my God, I was on that plane and blah, 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 blah. Like, you never see any of that type of stuff, right? All you do is just see the story that they show and the lies that they tell, basically. So let's go back over here and watch a little. This is about 4 minutes, so we'll just kind of go through it real quick here. I'll skip around a little bit.
He also says during the investigation, they discovered the cockpit voice recorder, which would have given us a look into the communication during the flight, has been wiped from the system. That is standard protocol for most American airliners. But tonight, the NTS...
So let me ask you a question. Why is that standard protocol? Like, a plane has a problem. Why would it be standard protocol to wipe the voice recorder? Like, you don't even have like an accurate, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's like, it's how convenient. It's standard procedure. We just wipe all the evidence away when something happens, right? Because there's no evidence to give because, I don't believe it happened. I don't believe it happened. It was staged. The video they show the people on the plane. I want to get into that a little bit more. Here we go. Let's keep going.
Is calling on the FAA to change that protocol, saying the information in that recording would have been vital to their investigation.
Oh, gee, you think?
The NTSB also revealed that during the flight, the auto pressurization light came on. That light would indicate the cabin wasn't pressurized correctly. And they also say on this aircraft, it was reported that light came on during 3 previous flights. Alaska Airlines decided to restrict having this plane make flights to Hawaii over water in case the light led to a bigger issue.
It's like, hey, listen, something doesn't seem right with this plane. The cabin pressure, we're losing cabin pressure. Something's not right here. I tell you what, let's just throw caution to the wind here a little bit. Let's be really safe. We don't want to hurt anybody, so we won't fly over water. We'll just fly over land. Although I do feel you're probably better off flying over water, right? Because at least you can have a chance to get out and swim. If you crash onto the land, you're pretty much done. But anyway, I just think it's just so funny, the things that they even say in these stories. When you watch it, it makes absolutely, no sense, right? Like, what kind of, and again, I don't know if this is done purposely to scare people from traveling or, or just to put people in fear in general. I mean, like, everything's just about creating fear in some way. Oh my gosh, now I got to be afraid to fly. Is the plane going to crumble in the air, But anyway, it's just too funny to say, this cabin light came on 3 times before. They didn't do anything. So what? Let's just fly it over land and and see what happens. But again, I don't think the plane was in the air anyway. I think it was this whole story is made up. But let's continue as we do here on Operation Status Quo.
It's certainly a concern. And it's one that
concerned.
we want to dig into.
Yeah, should dig into that.
And look at what occurred there.
Yeah.
And if there is any relation at all or correlation to what occurred on this event.
Yeah.
We don't know that at this time.
How could you know that? You had
Fox 12's Drew Marine.
How could you know that? You only had a light coming on saying that the pressure wasn't right in the cabin multiple times, but we're not sure if there's any correlation between that and the fact that the door ripped off the plane. So we're not really sure.
At that meeting, she has the latest details, including who officials say discovered the missing door plug. Drew,
oh, this is a good part.
Came in at the very tail end of the meeting.
If she says
that's right. Very exciting news for the NTSB.
Very exciting.
Tonight, they say they're relieved after learning a school teacher named Bob found that missing door plug in his backyard. earlier today.
A school teacher named Bob. I mean, just think about it. I mean, it's so generic, right? It's just, a school teacher, how beautiful, named Bob. You know, it's just, I don't know. I'm telling you guys. I mean, just read through the lines, right? And you know, I know this is a Fox News in Oregon, so, you know, it's not like world news. I was going to pull world news up, but I just found this one. I went with this one, but I just find it to be so over the top, funny, and ridiculous. But okay, let's get see. I'm going to skip a little bit through this once she gets into some of this, I think. But let me see here.
Spoke with a woman who was on that flight on Friday and says
Oh,
she's
yeah,
glad they're
they say this
investigating
woman
and
was
hopes
on the flight
other
coming up.
Passengers are doing okay after that life-changing experience.
So, I mean, I always listen to those emergency instructions that they give you. I just never, ever thought that I would have to use them. So I've heard them enough times. That
Now imagine the way she's talking, like, oh, I never thought I'd have to use them. The door ripped off the plane. Do you understand? Like, the door ripped off the plane. Oh, I really didn't know what was happening. You know, it's like you'd be like, oh my God, the door was ripped off the plane. I was sitting there. Next thing you know, right? I mean, you'd be really telling a story. I think you'd be telling a story. I'm like, oh, I know. I read the thing on the back of the seat, and it tells me to, you know, sit down and keep my seatbelt on. I never really thought it would mean something.
Ellie Bartlett hopped on what was supposed to be a quick flight to California when just 15 minutes into the flight, the unexpected happened.
Dun, 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 dun.
after that, we heard a really loud boom.
Yep, a boom.
And the plane just filled with air and wind, and the oxygen mask dropped.
Yes.
She says she was sitting a few rows ahead of where a door.
So she's sitting a few rows ahead.
At first, she didn't quite know what was going on.
But she didn't know.
Because of my view where I was, I could see mostly seats, and I could see the hole where the window should have been. And I thought, oh my gosh, the window blew out. Like, I thought.
Now, let me just say, you're sitting on a plane, okay? You get on a plane, and you're sitting a few rows up from where this happened, you know, and she's saying she thinks it was a window. You didn't know. You can only look over. You can't really see it. You're going to tell me you don't know there's a. I mean, I'm just trying to say. You walk on a plane. You know where you're sitting. You're going to tell me you don't know there's a door there. You know there's a door there. I mean, I've been on planes multiple times. Like, I know where the windows and the doors are from where I'm sitting. You know, I'm just trying to say it's a weird. You know, that's what I mean. Like, it's just such bullshit, man. So okay, let's go. Let's continue on.
Just the window. And it wasn't until later that I realized it was that whole wall panel, and he was sitting right there. And of course they needed to move.
And after she put the oxygen mask on, another passenger jumped over her to take the empty seat next to her. She says it was a 15-year-old named Jack.
Okay, I want to stop here because I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. But so first of all, you know, she says this guy, you know. So this plane now, you know, is depressurized, the wind's blowing around, the door's missing, but this guy got out of his seat, you know, and moved over to another seat. Now, I'm not sure what it feels like in a plane, you know, when that happens. So, you know, maybe he's able to or not. But the best part of this story, and let me put the picture back up so you can see. She goes on to talk about how this guy, where he was sitting, that, you know, his cell phone or whatever, or it was his tablet, something, you know, got sucked out the window, and his shirt was ripped from his body and pulled off out into space, you know, wherever out there. But now if you look at this picture, he clearly has a shirt on. So I'm just trying to say, you know, in the midst of all this chaos, somebody was able to get him a shirt his size and everything. You know, I'm just, that's all I'm saying. Like, you know, maybe he had a carry on and he grabbed another shirt. You know, I don't know, but, you know, his shirt's ripped off. This is chaos, you know, but yet he has time to get another, you know, shirt on, which I find to be very interesting.
Sitting in that row where the door plug flew off the plane.
He told me he lost his laptop and his cell phone, that the wind or the suction literally ripped his shirt off when it happened. And I mean, I cannot imagine what he must have been feeling.
It must have been terror, but
it's just crazy.
It must have been crazy terror. But let me tell you, it was no problem. We were able to take a selfie. We took a selfie because, you know, that's, even though we're going to die, we take a selfie. That's what we do, right? Because that's what we have to show on the fake news, right? So here we go. Let's see.
Because they were wearing masks and it was too noisy to talk, the two exchanged a bit of information through the Notes app on Bartlett's phone. She says Jack then suggested taking a selfie to quote.
They just said they exchanged information on the phone. Although I guess it's her phone. It must not be his phone. Her phone, right? Her phone, I guess.
Commemorate the moment. She was relieved he was physically okay, along with everyone else on board.
Yeah, and I just want to count my blessings every day.
Now, the National Transportation Safety Board is investigating and provided an update Sunday night.
So right now we are in a fact-finding phase of the investigation. What fact-finding means
is the door ripped off the plane. You know what I mean? What fact-finding do you need? It's like, come on, guys. I mean, this is it's such nonsense. And they'll make a whole big thing. Look, I mean, look, this is a 4.5 minute story just on rah, 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 telling you nothing,
document all the evidence.
Document
We
it.
want to make sure we have all the pictures.
Yeah, take some pictures.
Have all the that we need, all the components we may need off of the aircraft, that we are asking the right questions for the right information.
Now, that's the smartest thing she said, ladies and gentlemen. We should all be asking the right questions for the information that we're trying to determine of what's going on in the world, and it's stuff like this that is, done on purpose to keep people distracted from other crap that's really going. They don't want you to know about the financial system collapsing. They don't want you to know about, you losing everything you got in your 401k. But, they're going to take their time to document and find out what's going on here.
Bartlett is grateful the FAA has grounded all 737 MAX 9 aircraft while the NTSB investigates.
And that's what makes me think, I wonder what they're grounded these planes. So like they create this event, to then ground a bunch of planes. What are these planes being grounded for? Are they being used for something else? Or, what's the purpose of grounding the plane? See, I'm trying to say it's deeper. It's not like this actually happened and now they want to do an investigation and check all the planes. They create this and it's for a bigger purpose. What that purpose is, I don't know exactly, but I'm just trying to say that's everything that we see in mainstream news, and that's just how they operate.
I wish this wouldn't have happened in the first place, but I'm glad that they're grounding all the planes and really looking into it.
Bartlett is hoping that she can reconnect with Jack and his mom to see if they're doing okay after this, and that Boeing reaches out to those on the flight to offer compensation. In a statement, Boeing did say they will remain in close contact with their regulator and their customers. Live at PDX, Drew Marine, Fox 12 Oregon.
I just like to see, for real, I would just like to see, the people that were really on that plane. I'd like to see, forget about Epstein's flight log. I want to see the flight log of that flight, and I'd like to contact those people personally and ask, tell me about the flight. You know what I'm trying to say? So, again, especially if you watch other videos of it when they show inside the plane. There was another video I saw. They showed of this girl saying that she was sleeping, and then when she woke up to this happening. But she had a selfie of herself too with the mask on. So I'm saying, so you're sleeping. Excuse me, you wake up to the plane with the door ripped off and you don't know what the frig's going on, but yet you have time, to take that selfie. It's just the craziest thing. And the other videos they were showing, like just the way they showed people in the plane, there's other videos, the person's just, everybody's just kind of sitting there calm and listen, I know you got to stay, it could be to stay calm a little bit because what are you going to do? Panic, but it just doesn't look right, and I know I highlighted this particular story, but to me, it turns out to be the same thing with news in general. I can go through every story, start picking crap apart. It's absolutely, ridiculous. So I don't know. I don't think this plane was in the air. Tell me what you think. I think it's just, another fabricated, movie production that they put on to create fear in the minds of people, to create distraction while they're doing whatever crap is really going on behind the scenes. So whatever you're seeing on TV as your mainstream stories and the big news of the day, remember that is not actually what's happening, or it's not definitely not the way they're telling you or presenting it to you. Just like 9/11, they presented it as like a random terrorist attack, which of course it wasn't, and so on and so forth. So, we have to just kind of really open our eyes and look deep into these type of things and have this discernment as we watch what they try to show us on TV and the nonsense that they try to feed down our throats as mainstream news, because it's news, the movie. It's not really news. It's just the movie. So, all right. Well, hopefully we'll get some real news over the course of this year and get some stuff, figure out what the hell's really going on in this world. And just remember, honestly, I've been talking about this for years, really, and especially since, 2020 is when it really all came to, into focus, for me. But, it really comes down to the exposing, the underground world of the human trafficking and the child sex trafficking, and that link to our financial system and everything that it entails. cartels and how our financial system is a debt-based system meant to keep us enslaved so that they can continue to do the crap that they do. And everything else that we see is just nonsense and distraction. So that's why all this crap comes out. They don't talk about Epstein too much and everything that's going on. They don't talk about Ghislaine Maxwell and being a submarine pilot and everything else, and moving kids underwater onto these islands. So anyway, I mean, that's just stuff to think about, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we do here on Operation Status Quo. We observe life. We have to figure out what's going on, and then we have to create our own way of dealing with things and creating a better world for all of us to share and enjoy. So that's what I got for you here today on Operation Status Quo. As always, I thank you so much for your time and participation here with me on this wonderful program, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't done so already, please take the time to like, subscribe, share, send this out to your friends, your family, those you love, and of course, those you despise as well. I love each and every one of you out there individually as well as a group. God bless you. And until tomorrow, Operation Status Quo, disengaged.
It's a boulevard of 10 short blocks.